gavel.
Call to order this meeting of the Centerville Board of Education for Monday, April 27, 2020. Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Dernbaugh?
Here.
Dr. Rohr?
Here.
Mr. Schreier?
Here.
Megan Sparks?
Here.
Mr. Dahl?
Here. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
Allegiance
to the flag
of the
United States of America, to the
and
republic
to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Be seated. Next item on the agenda is to approve the agenda as presented. Need a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Roll, please.
Mrs. Dernbaugh?
Yes.
Dr. Rohr?
Yes.
Mr. Schreier?
Yes.
Megan Sparks?
Yes.
Mr. Dahl?
Yes. Before we go on to our next item, again, I want to state to the public that we're having this virtual meeting pursuant to the orders and instructions from Governor DeWine and the legislature that permit these type of meetings. And this is our second one. Whether we have more will be determined sometime later. The next item on the agenda is Board of Education reports. I understand that we do not have a legislative report tonight, Ms. Sparks?
No.
None?
No legislative report and nothing to report on with the Board of Reps either.
Great. Next item on the agenda is the hearing of the public. Board of Education provides this as a convenient opportunity for public comment before any official action is taken. Anyone who would like to address the board, we've asked them to submit in writing their request, and then I will just ask if we have received any requests at this time.
Mr. Dahl, we had one request, and Sarah Swan, our Community Relations Specialist, is going to read that at this time.
Thank you.
Good evening. We received one question from Katie Dorenzo, 1010 Hidden Ridge Lane, Washington Township. First, I want to thank all the staff who are working so hard to teach and support our children while we adjust to distance learning. This situation was not planned for, and I recognize that this has not been an easy transition for any of us. My question is, how is the school district preparing for a distance learning situation should this carry over into next school year? The technology exists to effectively engage and teach kids remotely, as some homeschools do full-time, and I would expect that our well-resourced district would fully evaluate any and all means of providing distance learning with the same excellence that they have demonstrated within the traditional school. I'm sure we would all agree that the emergency approach that was implemented in March is not adequate for the long term. Thank you for your consideration. And that is the end of the comment.
Very appropriate comment. There's a lot of things that the district has to work on, and that would just be one of the many, right, Dr. Henderson?
That's correct, Mr. Dahl. I will follow up, and that's a good question, and we are definitely looking ahead to August already, and we'll be working on some different plans depending on what the situation is.
Good. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is treasury reports. Ms. Harber?
Yes, good evening. I have just a couple slides to just review with all of you, just some follow-up things to what we talked about at our work session. And I think, I'm not sure how your screen works. Some of the numbers are cut off on mine, but I did email this report to you that you have in your email as well. But I wanted to give you just a snapshot of where we are through March 31st, which are the financial reports that you're approving tonight. So we're 3/4 of the way through the year. Revenue is a little hard to gauge when you think 75%. Revenue is a little all over the place because we collect at different times. We're 90% of the way through our property tax collections. That's not abnormal because we get the bulk of the collection usually by the end of April, which we have. State funding, we have, and rollback and homestead, we have a large rollback payment that will be coming either yet this week or at the beginning of May. And then our other revenue, we're just ahead on some of those collections at 92%. But for the total, we're right around 80%, and that's an okay percent for this time of year through the end of March.
Laura, just a quick question. The forecasted numbers are forecasted through the third quarter, or is it for the year?
That's for the year.
Year, okay.
Those are the
Just wanted to
numbers that are on the 5-year forecast currently, yes.
Okay, so it's not apples to apples there. I just wanted to make sure that people
Yes,
don't think
that's
they're way
correct.
behind for the quarter.
Yep, no,
Okay. Thank you.
no. On the expense side, then, it's a little more accurate in terms of, again, you think of 75% of the way through the fiscal year. Our wages are at about almost 76%. I did notice for the month of April, that was under what I had anticipated for the month, and that makes sense since we don't have any substitutes in any of our buildings. So we will see, I think, that we'll come in a little bit under our forecasted amount. Again, that's forecasted for the whole year. Benefits, we're running a little bit high on the benefits at 77%. And I think that's going to stay a little bit on the high side. I think that our actual numbers will exceed the 35 million that we forecasted, not by a lot, but by a little bit. And then all of our other areas, which is, you think of the purchase services and utilities and textbooks and supplies and all those things, we're under budget at 66%, but that's the smallest part of our budget. So we're right on par with our expenses at about 75%.
Laura, could I ask a question, please?
Yeah.
On wages, do we have a 3-pay month coming up in April, May, or June, or do you know?
I don't believe we do until this fall.
Okay.
I can get back to you on that for sure.
That's not a big deal. I just thought if you
We
knew
just
off the
had
top of
one
your
in
head.
January, so I don't think we'll have another one until late summer.
Okay, thanks.
So looking here at what we're looking at going forward, we actually did receive our final property tax settlement just last Friday or Thursday. And so for the year, we've collected about $200,000 under what our estimate was. So from a property tax standpoint, we're right on target with collections for fiscal year 20. The reappraisal for 2020, which is collection in 21, it's really up in the air. We still don't know what the county auditor is going to do, whether they're going to actually go through the reappraisal process like normal, or whether they're going to try to extend that for a year. Many counties are talking about doing that. And then again, our collection rates, with unemployment being up so high, we're gonna be really watching closely our collection rates this summer, especially. On the state funding side of things, I listened in and heard a presentation by the county auditor, by the Ohio Department of Education last week, and they're talking about our funding levels for next year, but also for the remainder of this year. Obviously, the state's sources of revenue are way down. Their income tax, their sales tax, their lottery profits, because people are not working, because people are not out shopping and doing all of those things. Unemployment's so high, all of their revenue sources are down. So that, we expected this. We've been talking about this now for several weeks. And again, just to remind you of what that exposure is, while state funding isn't our largest source of revenue, it's still a significant source. And so if we were to see a 5% reduction, and I don't know what it will be, but I put that on there just as an example for you to be thinking about the dollars that could be associated with that. But they did say that in the next couple of weeks we should have some guidance. So as soon as I get that information, I'll be sure to pass that along. And then federal funding. The CARES Act is the federal stimulus package that the state of Ohio and all the states in the United States will be receiving from the federal government. And again, this is based on that conversation with the Ohio Department of Education last week. We should be receiving about 80% of what our Title I allocation is. And that funding, it'll be restricted, but yet it's kind of loosely restricted. We'll be able to use it for a lot of the programs that we already have and that we've been talking about, our summer programs, purchase of technology, the PPE for in the buildings this fall, potentially intervention programs and social and emotional wellness as well. And so where are we for the 2021 school year? We're going to be starting this week, actually on Wednesday, our weekly budget meetings. Dr. Henderson and myself and the rest of the central office administrative team will be talking about staffing needs for next year and any other budget concerns or in revenue concerns as well that we might have. We're a little bit behind schedule. I'm okay with that just because of all the uncertainty that's going forward. So, again, we're usually a little bit further along than where we are right now, but I think given the times, that's an okay thing right now. And it just seems like, things are just changing very rapidly. Weekly, we're getting more guidance, more information. And so as that information becomes available, I'll be giving that to you. And you will see into May here, I'll be sending more information on the 5-year forecast. We'll look at the 5-year forecast at the work session, and then board approve that at the May regular board meeting. That's it for me.
All right, thank you very much. I know there's a lot going on, and a lot more information is going to be coming to all of us. So appreciate all the hard work you've done.
Thank you.
Any other questions for anybody? Next item on the agenda is Treasurer's Recommendations. Need a motion to consider approving the March 2020 financial statements, including the monthly financial report, fund activity report, appropriations report, general funding spending report, general fund summary comparison, purchase orders included in the statement number 7, approved by administration then and now, certified by the treasurer and supported by board resolution, totaling $178,299.53.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Dernbaugh?
Yes.
Dr. Rohr?
Yes.
Mr. Schreier?
Yes.
Megan Sparks?
Yes.
Mr. Dahl?
Yes. Next item on the agenda is consider approving our minutes for the last meeting. So we need a motion to consider approving the minutes of the following Board of Education meetings: March 23, 2020 regular meeting, April 20, 2020 work session.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Dernbaugh?
Yes.
Dr. Rohr?
Yes.
Mr. Schreier?
Yes.
Megan Sparks?
Yes.
Mr. Dahl?
Yes. Next item on the agenda is Superintendent Recommendations. Schedule E, the superintendent recommends the granting of leaves of absence for the personnel listed on Schedule E for the reasons and on the dates given. Need a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Questions or comments? Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Dernbaugh?
Yes.
Dr. Rohr?
Yes.
Mr. Schreier?
Yes.
Megan Sparks?
Yes.
Mr. Dahl?
Yes. Next item is consider approving May 4 through May 8, 2020 as National Teacher and Staff Appreciation Week, a time to publicly recognize our staff's contributions to the development of this community and tremendous influence in the lives of our students, and double that with all the things that have been going on recently.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Dernbaugh?
Yes.
Dr. Rohr?
Yes.
Mr. Schreier?
Yes.
Megan Sparks?
Yes.
Mr. Dahl?
Yes. Dr. Henderson, do we need to read into the record these next resolutions?
Mr. Dahl, it'd be okay if you just read the short statements that are listed on the second page of the agenda there. That would be enough for tonight.
Okay. Item C, consider approving a board resolution to enter into a memorandum of understanding that addresses teacher evaluations for the 2019-2020 school year with the Centerville Classroom Teachers Association. Get a motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll.
Mrs. Dernbaugh?
Yes.
Dr. Rohr?
Yes.
Mr. Schreier?
Yes.
Megan Sparks?
Yes.
Mr. Dahl?
Yes. Consider approving the board resolution pursuant to Ohio House Bill 197, Section 15, approving the provision of distance learning retroactive to March 16, 2020. Need a motion, please?
So
So
moved.
moved.
Second.
Call the roll.
Mrs. Dernbaugh?
Yes.
Dr. Rohr?
Yes.
Mr. Schreier?
Yes.
Megan Sparks?
Yes.
Mr. Dahl?
Yes. And finally, consider approving board resolution authorizing the superintendent and treasurer to take any and all actions necessary to maintain educational programming for students and provide for the safety of all students and staff.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Sternball,
Yes.
Dr. Rohr,
Yes.
Mr. Schreier,
Yes.
Megan Sparks,
Yes.
Mr. Dahl.
Yes. Before we get a motion to adjourn, Dr. Henderson, you have anything else you want to address to the public tonight?
I think, Mr. Dahl, I'd just like the public to know that even though this agenda went very quickly tonight, all of the information that was discussed tonight and all of the resolutions you approved tonight were all discussed last week at a work session. And all of the other items that you approved tonight were also previously discussed as well. So we do spend time at work sessions making sure that you're in the know and aware of everything that you're looking at and approving. And we continue to send that information out in writing as well to all of you. So I think that would be about it at this time.
Board members?
Nope.
Nope. I want to thank all of the staff, all the administrative staff, all the teachers, all the building personnel, classified employees. They've all done a great job under these very trying circumstances. And please, Dr. Henderson, when you see him, tell him we really appreciate it. Thank you.
Amen.
I definitely will do
Absolutely.
that. Thank you. Definitely will
All
do
right.
that.
Need a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Sternball,
Yes.
Dr. Rohr,
Yes.
Mr. Schreier,
Yes.
Megan Sparks,
Yes.
Mr. Dahl.
Yes, we are adjourned. Thank you all very much.
Thank you all.
Good
Have a good
evening.
week.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Morgan, for setting it up again.
Yep.
Everyone wear
Night,
your mask.
everybody.
Wear your masks. Bye.